This multi-layered movie is a hat rack that is a lot more complex and confusing than Christopher Nolan's other movie, Inception. John David Washington plays a character named the Protagonist. He's an operative who is recruited by a shadowy organization called Tenet. His job is to take part in a covert mission beyond the realms of actual time to avert something worse than World War III. Dark forces in the future are controlling the flow of time and plotting the destruction of the present. In his race against time, the protagonist is joined by Neil, an English spy who is played by Robert Pattinson. This long-anticipated sci-fi movie is an exhausting, humorless, and generally joyless disappointment. This movie is big, ambitious, and arguably clever, but the director is more caught up in his own machinations than ever before. The typically intricate plot is not as involving as his previous movies. The movie gets too carried away with his own concept. The movie impresses with all the technicalities, but unfortunately in terms of plot, it's more baffling than ending up feeling intrigue. Christopher Nolan does include the usual exposition to try making his story accessible and interesting. Even so, this movie feels strangely hollow and coldly detached. So detached to the point that the movie's great acting ensemble fails to connect emotionally. It's not a case about complex storytelling failing to be comprehensible. It's just bad storytelling. The story itself fails to make enough sense for the audience to grasp them. There's a lack of flow and logic to what you're seeing in order to be able to understand it. The dialogue throughout is clunky and unconvincing, lacking any kind of emotional context or even a level of humanity to it. This movie has no interest in human beings beyond assets on a poster or dots on a diagram. John David Washington, who plays the lead, is weirdly muted and muzzled here. His role feels like he's being written merely as a pawn of the movie who simply goes through the motion. The spark he's supposed to have with Sator's estranged wife, Kat, played by Elizabeth Debicki, is not there, which makes for a motivation problem. Elizabeth Debicki herself is the only one who actually seems like she's making any kind of connection with the audience. Even at that, it's not much. Robert Pattinson, meanwhile, is used so fruitlessly. Overall, this movie lacks the heart and soul. It's also really quite boring and more than a little irritating. This movie is a mess.